Welcome back to another episode of A Record of My Father. Today we're going to be talking about airplanes and specifically the project I did in ninth grade about the Wright Brothers.
Okay.
Um, you remember that project I did?
We
As
still have it
the
in the attic.
Do you really? It was a diorama, and I think that was about the
Yeah.
third or second and only diorama I ever made. And
Yeah.
man, putting that thing together sucked. I think I like a bunch of pieces broke, and I just ended up duct taping the whole thing together like a big rock.
It was funny.
Yeah, that was good. It looked good though. After I think I dropped
Well,
it.
you actually did the Wright Brothers plane, and I remember Doggy came over.
Did he really?
Yeah, Doggy came over because he was talking to you about, oh, you got to do this, and oh my God, that he didn't have blue eyes, he had brown eyes, and you're just
Now
like,
that you said that, yeah, because he was dipping the pieces. Because I was gonna give up on the little wooden pieces
yeah,
that did the top and the bottom. I was just gonna put toothpicks or something.
yeah.
And then he would dunk the perfect amount of glue on each end every time, and then flick like the little wooden thing that made the top and the bottom connect, and just put it in perfectly. And he's like,
He's
"You try
amazing
it,"
that way.
and I tried it, and it was just everything apparently would fall apart, even if it was already glued together.
We have the whole,
Yeah, dysgraphia thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I say anyway.
Do you like my new chair? You like my new
Yeah.
chair?
How's it feel?
It's great. Oh my gosh. I'm a little bit
Really?
lower than I usually am, but it beats the
What are you? You're a
freaking
little depressed or what?
heck gosh darn out of the camping chair that I was
So when you
using.
get sad, you lower the chair, and when you're happy, you raise it.
Well, this is an IKEA
Because then
chair,
you're
so
lower, and
it's
then
at one level.
oh, well, so when you're more happy, do you put it on stilts or something on
Well,
rocks?
I put books on top of the chair.
Books
I sit on
underneath.
top of the
I like.
books. I sit on top of them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh, I flew
so
Southwest for the first time the other day.
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was
I've
I've
flown it
never
a long
flown.
time ago, and then I flew it again now recently, and I didn't know.
Gotta tell you, it's a heck of a lot faster loading and unloading than any other airline I've ever been on.
Yeah, I would say that, but it's
Yes.
more. It's more. What do
You
you call
save
it?
20 minutes easily.
I would say it's faster because there's not 17 classes of people coming on. And I think that the other airlines have done a disservice to themselves by saying, oh, you're super premium, advanced gold, platinum, twiddle-dee-dum, and you have a military ID, and your mother is got a broken ankle. And it's like, what the
Yeah.
hell? And it seems like one of the things that I've learned is that if you are interred, if you not interred,
I was wondering,
inter
I'm like, I've never heard that word
what
before.
about going potta? What are you talking about going to the bathroom? No.
I'm an
If
English major. You're
if you need
making
a
up
wheelchair,
Faulknerisms over here.
if you need a wheelchair, you have an advantage. You have an advantage everywhere, and except on the exiting of the plane, you have to wait. I
Yeah.
mean, you come out and you have to get in the hallway and do that. I mean, but for the most part, it allows you certain advantages. And all you have to do, I mean, some people go up and say, I just need one. And they didn't really need one. I mean, my
Well, I
wife now,
would say the people with wheelchairs have an advantage in pretty much every single thing except walking. I think that that would probably be.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, if you park and you got to get out of one of those vans in a wheelchair and you got to get into the place, you ain't got no advantage. Just
oh
because you
no.
got to park closer and the door and all that kind of crap, it takes you 10 minutes to get out of the van. It takes me however the hell I can roll out and depends on how drunk I am.
About a
I
half a
mean,
second.
about a half a second.
Yeah,
Because my name's Jim Leahy.
I am the liquor. But
I am liquor.
yeah, remember I think during the
That's a
pandemic
mention
we
of the Trailer Park
watched
Boys.
three seasons one day. And then I
Three
think the
seasons
next
of the Trailer Park
we
Boys.
we'd watch like every season. After a
Oh
while, your
God.
brain just feels like it's rotting.
what do you what do you mean feels like?
It's coming out through your ears.
you
But that
just
guy,
you get it, your head becomes flatter because it's just a soup. It's a sea of mud up there,
it's
and then it's
just
just trying to hold the sides in when you watch that shit
it's mud
because that's what it is.
poison.
It's just stupid. It's just
But
stupid
it's a
people
lot of it's
doing
really
stupid things.
smart though.
But it's yeah, and
Because
I think that's what really kind of links you to it is the fact that it's sort of like, wow, this is really cool the way they do this.
well,
And
Ricky, like all of that stuff is just is improv. A
yeah,
lot of it's just improv. And
and
I've never seen a better improv actor than him. Gosh,
yeah,
he's crazy good.
yeah, yeah.
When they're talking about how he used to be married to this woman and how
Mhm.
she's gonna have a kid with another guy, and he's like, well, really, it's my kid, so because this she's doing born the kid, but the kid is really born by me. It's in born the whole time.
Born. Oh
It's-
God, I remember that one.
And he's like, "Well, we used to be married, so technically it's my kid." And I'm like, "I don't know if that's how it works. I don't know if that's how it works." Mm.
No, but she wanted him to have the kid, so that was what made it really funny. And it was just like, oh my God, that was so crazy.
So great.
Anyway, we're talking about airplanes. I mean,
Airplanes.
airlines and stuff like that, and the different flights and how we go and how we have to be there hours early. I remember I was bitching about TSA going like, we probably since 9/11, it's been what, 23 years. We've probably spent trillion and a half dollars on advanced security. And
98% of the stuff gets through anyway.
And yeah, but I'm wondering like what is the difference? I mean, I would tell you honestly that I've been flying since the early mid 80s on a regular basis. I started flying regularly. Before that, it was periodic at best. But I would say that I don't really feel any safer today than I did then. I don't know what is the, and I do feel that they are giving me cancer because when you go through those big machines, it was really funny. I noticed this. No, here's the conspiracy. Here's the conspiracy theory. You know, the big machine that you go through and you stand up and you put your arms up like this?
Yeah.
They don't let kids go in there.
No, really?
No, they don't. That's why the guy stopped them and go, no, kids don't go in there. And I looked at him, I'm going like, why?
I'm going to start opting out.
Well, it's too exposed. It's too exposed. And I'm just like,
oh.
So what do you mean? I'm closer to death? I mean, I didn't say that because you can't say anything bad to a TSA guy or you'll go to jail or they'll stick a fist up your
I was watching a TV show the other day and they were walking through the airport and he said, opt out. And then he opted out and he went to the metal detector instead. And I'm wondering if you can do that. Can you opt out? Now I'm wondering if you can opt out.
Well, that whole contract was sort of weird and thrown together really quick. And I don't know if it was a lifetime contract, but remember that they used to just go through the metal detectors regularly. And we never had all that huge body screen shit.
Yeah.
And then Smith International, I think, was the technological company then that when after 9/11 happened, they came in and they got a multi-billion-dollar contract to build something to technologically see inside your body and all this other kind of stuff. So then, and of course, all the officers are in there looking at people's wee-wees and, whatever, and making jokes. But of celebrities.
I don't even know how people get off on that. It's like it's like your bones.
But it's more like looking at you, comparing you to somebody else.
Ah, okay.
You can look at the big dude with the real small wee-wee and go like, wow, there's another myth killed, and you see a basketball player and you say that. But anyway, the whole idea that they would not let little kids go in made me just go like, so somebody's not telling us about how this is bad. Because they used to say that it didn't destroy your film, but I knew people that had film would say, no, don't do that. You got to, and they would argue and say, but it does, because I'm a photographer and I do this, and you destroy my film quite regularly.
And they still say that too, that if you have film,
but it's not true.
What? It's not true that it destroys film?
That it doesn't.
Oh, that it does.
It does it randomly. It's not a very consistent thing because it matters on him. I don't understand. I'm sure it's the same thing when you go through the big thing and they say opt out. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start opting out.
I'm going to start opting out.
When the guy said no kid, he stopped. The security guy stopped the kid. That makes me think that they have new information that, oh my God, we're killing people. And this is usually the way it happens because they're frightened. The company said, well, let's start taking kids away from it and say that it was only for, too many rads for kids. And we'll see if we can get the rules changed so they can say that it's okay to give 1,000 rads to adults today. But, even though we really know that if we get more than 100, we'll kill them. So, but we're going to get the Nuclear Regulatory Agency to say that we can put more out. I mean, that's what they do for billions of dollars. Anyway, I think that it's the start of something that is sort of frightening, that those machines were thrown together. A lot of people said anything that can look inside your body, like an X-ray machine at a hospital, they put freaking lead on before they let you do it. They put you in a separate room from other people. They tell you not to do this
Exactly.
more than a couple times a year. Yet, every time you fly through, they're like, "Nyeh, nyeh." And then remember all those people standing around. It's not like they got lead all around it, stopping it. I mean, I wonder what the cancer rate is for people that work at the TSA that work around those machines.
That's a very, very good question. And
You
I
would be
also
like,
think about when I get my mouth x-rayed at the dentist. They're
yeah,
putting that thing on against your skull, and I'm wondering if it's like
yeah.
if that is a big deal or not. Because I got a
Well,
lead thing on my body.
mhm.
Like I got a lead thing on my body to protect me from the x-ray, but then it's pressed against my brain anyway. So I'm like, why are you even putting the lead thing?
Because we want your wiener to work. We don't give a shit if you can think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Drop children, not brain cells,
It
or
makes me
something
think
like
that
that.
do I really feel any different after getting x-rayed at the airport? I don't think I do, but I don't know. Maybe
When you say feel any different, I can't expect. I wouldn't imagine that you would know
it's that high
that
level of
lead
radiation.
paint made you stupid. Okay.
You wouldn't know that you were getting stupider. Yeah, fair enough.
No, no. I mean, when I used to eat lead paint, it was okay.
The
I
chips taste
found
kind of
out,
good.
yeah,
The chips are
we didn't
yummy.
have lead paints. Oh, you're right. In our house, we did. We had asbestos, so more for the non-breathing. But anyway, I looked up some stats on flights. Just I was curious.
Let's
It's
hear
like,
them.
what's going on right now? There are 2.9 million people fly daily. That's 1% of all of the population in the US gets on a plane every day. That's one out of 100.
Is that
One out of
U.S.
every
U.S.
in the
people?
US,
Okay.
every 100. How many flights is that? 45,000 every day, roughly. And roughly 1% of the population gets on a plane every day. That's a lot of people. Now, go back to 2004. We had 25,000 flights a day, and that would have been about 1.4 million. We had about 200 million people then. So it was about a 0.5%. So the percent of people that fly daily has gone up, like doubled
Oh yeah.
in the last 20 years. So more people are flying in the US for
Ma-
whatever reason. I don't know, for business, for sex, for drugs, for
Well, maybe
whatever.
that's why all the flights are full all the time now. Like, what
Well,
is that?
I see. I would
They
say that the
limit the
flights,
amount of flights, though. I think they've done
no,
that.
they
Or
cut.
the amount of planes they've had.
What happened is that when you start to look at the number of flights, they go like this. They go like this, and all of a sudden COVID came along, and then they drop right through the floor, right? Because all the airlines canceled all the flights because nobody could fly, and they go down to like zero. And so what the airlines do is instead of doing the old flight schedule where they had 80% full, they just do some of them back. Because like if me and you were competitors and we know only 500 people a day fly here, and we've each got 250 seats, and if I add another plane to steal a third of the business so I can add more revenue, but losing revenue to it and offer it cheaper than you and get them and take all yours away, and you get say a 70% fill rate and you don't make money. Well, both of us lose. I might get a little more revenue, but in the end game, I don't make any more. Now, if we used to have two flights and we used to have 70% full, now we have one. No, we used to have four, now we have two, and we're 100% full, and people are willing to pay more because there's only one flight. Think about that. I wonder, the price. I haven't looked into the prices of flights, but they've gone up. I mean, remember coming to the Derby, you paid 2 G's to come to Kentucky Derby.
Yeah,
Remember that?
I remember that.
That's crazy. I mean, the price of flights is
Especially around big events.
right, right. That's understandable, but you would think as a regular course. But then you start to talk to people about, well, what does the average sky waitress make? Did you check that out?
Skyway.
Well,
What an endearing term.
I know.
Um, I don't know. I think it's about 45, 50, probably. Something like that.
35.
35? Oh, wow.
And I no, I talked to no, Valerie gave me the number the other day. It was 30.
That's
And I
crazy.
remember when
I
I
did
was
not think that was that.
graduating from college in 1985 that I had one of my classmates was going to work for KLM because KLM required a college degree to be a stewardess, right? And she was like all this in a bag of sand, and her starting salary was $28,000. And I was just like, That's amazing. And my starting salary when I left was 15, which was half of what the hell I made in construction, which I don't know why I did that, but you know, the upside has been much better. Anyway, but it's now 30. And you're like, whoa.
$2,000 difference. That's insane.
And hold it, 85, 95, 05, 15, 25, 40 freaking years.
Well, you know what I think a lot of companies have been doing is they've been leaning on company perks. And I think the discounted flights and free flights are something that people look at as a huge advantage. And that's what those companies
Right.
kind of
I do this so
lean
I can bring
on.
my family with me. So my
Exactly.
family can fly anywhere.
And I'll never really have to pay for a full price at least for flights.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that that's how they've gotten away with that.
If you do it that much, if you fly all the time, and that's kind of the question. If it's 1% of your travel. I mean, I probably fly how many times a year? 20, 30? Something
Nah.
like that. Probably 30 when I think about it. Because, if I go to LA, it's two because I go up and back.
Mhm.
And I travel at least to 15 places a year
Let me count
easily,
me.
and multiple different ones.
So
I
that's
mean, just this year is San Diego, uh, 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 Paris, London. Did I go to Florida? I think I went to Florida. Uh, let me
I'm
see.
surprised you didn't drive down there.
Indiana, once to Chicago, twice to Chicago. Uh, This is so weird. I have to look back at the photos when I start
Yeah,
to
the
load.
photos help.
When I go like how many places we've flown to.
Yeah, we're gonna do
It's
Tibet.
just yeah, that is going to be amazing.
That's gonna be crazy. We're
Louisville.
not
You
hiking
and
the
I went
base
to
camp.
Louisville.
Are we hiking the base camp?
No, Niagara Falls. I went there. Canada went there. Oh
You went to
my
Canada?
God. Yeah.
When-
Charleston. Went to Charleston.
Where in Canada did you go? When did you go to there?
Niagara Falls.
When did you do that?
That was with let me see. After Easter, April 7th, 8th, 9th, right in there. I went up there to see went to
Oh,
Rochester to
that was
see the
Rochester. Okay, that's
remember
what I'm
that?
remembering it as. Yeah.
Rochester, and then we drove to Canadaga, cannot get whatever the hell it is. Canadaga there, the winery area. But then we went also up to Niagara
They
Falls
have
and we
wineries in
saw
Canada?
Canadaga.
What?
They have
Oh, is that
wineries.
not?
Canadaga is like this big, beautiful lake area in upstate New York. And they have
Uh,
wineries there, and they also have horse races and some other happy horse shit. We went there and just did some food eating and looking at all the beautiful things and the beautiful people. And then we went to Niagara Falls, and like that was
I've never
again.
been, and in my drive across all of Canada, you know where we didn't go? The one place was Toronto, which was a
Yeah.
big regret of mine. I
Yeah, they
wish.
have the best strip joints in the world.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why we were gonna go. But they also have like one
Mud
of the most
wrestling too.
diverse food cultures
Oh, really?
in the world. Yeah.
I never would have noticed that.
Yeah, they have, and Matty Matheson's restaurant chains are up there. I guess they're not chains,
Oh my
but he
God.
has what is it, like Seafood Palace
Yeah.
or Palace? I can't remember what it was. And then he has Matty's Burger Joint or whatever. And then I would eat at every single one of his restaurants.
I remember
Prime Seafood Cafe or Palace. Prime Seafood
I
Palace.
remember
That's what it is.
Toronto being more of like a dirty New York.
A dirty New York.
Yeah.
Isn't New York already dirty too?
Well, not really. I mean,
Not
not
really, really.
no, it used to I mean, in
Not
the
really,
in the
really.
late 80s, early 90s it was just filthy and then I mean that was the thing they talked about Giuliani's they cleaned up New York cuz it's a lot cleaner. They closed down a lot of they narrowed the porn sites at 42nd Street. You don't have the strip clubs. You go down the porn and you would have people like reaching out to you on the street going, "Yo, yeah, buddy, $5 alley, let's go." They don't do that anymore.
Well, it depends if you're in Manhattan or what borough you're in, I feel like as well.
Yeah, I think that
Manhattan
it's
is remarkably clean
yeah, it's
compared
moved
to
away.
every other borough. Yeah.
It's moved away. Well, we went to Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, we went to the best pizza. We went to the I went there and I went to Coney Island. Coney Island was pretty neat, nice. There's
Really?
a
Coney Island.
fair amount of homeless people there, but it's the
Yeah.
middle of the winter, so
Uh-huh.
not that many.
Were they sleeping on the beach?
No, the
Kicking
boardwalk.
my cords
And
underneath my desk. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, on the boardwalk.
yeah, it's cold. So
Yeah.
it was cold and rainy.
I'll tell you, LA is pretty filthy.
Yeah.
Ugh. I'll tell you, it's
But
pretty
how's their airport? I mean, you
pretty
go out of
glorious.
what do you go out of?
Burbank.
Burbank. What do you
I'm
think of
never doing
that?
LAX ever again. There's no reason to.
I mean, when I look at LAX now has the premium service where they'll pick you up and take you in through all that all the way to where you got to go and
They
exit
must
at
be
the.
losing fistfuls of dollars to Burbank then, because
You think?
it's 45 minutes. It's an $85 Uber ride from my house to LAX,
Hmm.
whereas to Burbank it's 40. And
Right.
even if like what is it on average, it's you're gonna make it up in probably airline flights because there's no real direct flights to the East Coast from Burbank. But it's probably
Well, that's why Pam
$50 more
said.
expensive or something.
She
Yeah,
said it was just like it's night and day. She said in the end, when you realize that how far it is to the airport and back, it's just like, and that's why I feel very lucky when I talk about flights and stuff. It's like I live at where 495 crosses Georgetown Pike. I live right in that area there. So I am literally like 16 minutes from Dulles Airport. Yet I don't hear it. I don't see it. I don't see the planes overhead. And I'm like 19 to 20 minutes away from National. So I have international airport, national and international airport within 20 minutes either direction. And I have a train station that goes up and down the East Coast.
you can't
And it's
forget
like,
BWI. You can't forget BWI.
yes, you can. It's a piece of shit. I'd never go there. Shoot me.
Have you ever flown
I mean,
into BWI or
yes,
out of?
in
Oh,
and out
really?
of BWI. I've missed flights there. I got stuck in Charlotte coming back. I've gone there because I couldn't get a flight into DCA or IDA, which is national, or the other, and I've gone there and I've taken taxis from there to here, which was $90.
Oh, yeah.
But that's how long ago, and now it's probably like 130.
Well, that's the equivalent of LAX to my apartment, pretty much, if you think about
Yeah,
it.
right. So your LAX to you is BWI.
Yeah.
Which in my mindset, I'd be like, I'd never fly out of there. I mean, I got to the point where I was like, if it's less, it was like less than $500 difference. Because you can fly Southwest and you go there and I'm like, yeah, but it's
You're
you
still gonna
got
pay
me
$80.
another $180 to do that or park for a week, which I don't want to park. And I go to Dulles and the other, and it's like I take a taxi or an Uber there. I get there, I get out, I come back, I hop in a taxi, Uber. I don't have to worry about a car. I don't have to worry about anybody carrying my stuff. I don't have to worry about planning anything. I love that idea. Oh, you can get a long-term park and you can save 875. And I'm like, no, shoot me. And then you get on the train and then you got the worry to do that, and it's like I,
Yeah.
I'm
No, there's no
I'm
reason.
just that
No reason.
pain, that pain of doing it. And it's like, well, no, but I've done it, and it isn't. I remember many times we would go out to long-term parking and get it and show up, 9 hours before the flight and then go there. You know,
Should we make Brian take a train from Union Station
I
to our
like
house?
that.
I think we should do that.
We'll pick them up at Metro. You could probably
The
get one
McLean
right to
Metro.
McLean. Yeah.
I remember I used to take the McLean
Well,
Metro
there's
all the
six
way
bars
downtown.
right there when you get off. You
At
can get
Union
off at the
Station
mall. No, get
or
off at Union
McLean.
Station.
The
Take Union
Archer
Station.
now. Yeah, the Archer, and
Another
then
one.
there's another bar.
The
Right.
Archer's a hotel.
Yeah, hotel bar. And then there's another
Prostitute.
one across from there.
Prostitute.
And then
No,
there's
no, even further up at
the
Eddie
Capital
V,
One.
the
Yeah, yeah.
Bushnells. Oh, Capital One has a bar too on the rooftop. We have to
Yep.
go to that. But all
Sun
those are
sun
like,
thing. Sun something
yeah,
Sunkissed. Some what is it called,
El
dude?
Dorado Tip Top. That's what it is.
Oh, okay, yeah. How
It's
can I be
called the El Dorado
mistaken?
Tip Top.
Is that a
Yeah,
Whole Foods underneath there? What is that? No, it's a yeah, a Wegmans, right?
yeah, it's a Wegmans.
It's a
Yeah,
Wegmans.
yeah.
No, but you do have two international airports. I don't know where anywhere else in the world that there's
And
two, or
people
maybe not in
don't
the
think,
world, but
and
in
if
in the
and if
US at least.
and I understand that if you don't give a shit about flying or going anywhere else, that this is not some type of value. But for me, I am 13 miles from the White House. So I'm going to die on the first nuclear. Don't have to think about that. But also, we're lucky enough to have a little bit of property and we're low enough that we're right by the Beltway, but the sound goes over top us.
I don't even know how
Unless
that's possible.
unless I'm in a tree fort, you know,
We don't hear anything.
we don't hear anything.
I don't
I
know
mean,
how
think
that's even
about that and think
possible.
about we're less than a mile from the Beltway, but we're down a hill. The Beltway's here, and there's those big giant sound walls. We don't hear anything from the Beltway unless there's like big death trap and all that kind of stuff, ambulances, fire engine stuff. And
Living in
now all that
LA
stuff's
now,
off.
it doesn't even bother me though. Like
Yeah.
I hardly. This is some guy that wakes up at 3:30 every morning and starts this big truck, but I don't
Yeah.
even hear it. I don't even hear it at all because I'm asleep
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, I hate backups. Backup.
I don't ever hear those really.
When I hear that, that wakes me up every time. I've heard those since, you were born in 6 months, and we went up and stayed in Baltimore, and we stayed in the what's the area there where they like I forget what they call it, the Hook, the park, whatever. Uh, and we stayed at the Admiral Benbow Inn. It was beautiful. It's
Yeah.
like a 200-year-old inn, and we were gonna go get nap, drink, eat great seafood, and all that. We got to bed at 11. The bar's open till 2, and they were partying their brains out, and we couldn't sleep because the windows are like original glass. So, you literally can hear mosquitoes buzzing around
Where was
outside.
this again?
That was in Baltimore.
Baltimore.
I'm trying to think of what the place is.
I don't think
It's
I've ever stayed in a hotel in
yeah.
Baltimore. They
Anyway,
redid the whole Inner Harbor though. The Inner Harbor's nice now.
yeah. Well, this is off of the Inner Harbor. This is the
Nah,
point. Not Haynes Point. It's something something point. What's the name of the point up there? What's the name of the point in
uh,
Baltimore? You should know. Come on.
couldn't tell you.
Point in Baltimore. Anyway, we stayed there, and I'm trying to remember.
Haney's Point.
No, that would be
I
I
can't. I
can't.
can't recall.
Fells Point.
Ah, there we go.
That's where we saw it because that's where the seafood and all this, and we stayed there. And then
There's a
the
Phillips up there.
they closed at 2 a.m. the bar, and everybody lets out, and they're all screaming and yelling, and we're upstairs trying to sleep because, this was 6 months. You were probably like 6 months old, and Dean and Mike had taken you, and you were taken. Anyway, they were babysitting you, and we were up 2 o'clock in the morning going like shit because we couldn't sleep because literally you could hear people's conversations down. And we had a beautiful view, beautiful room, old stuff, the old glass in the windows and everything, and we're out looking over the water. It's just gorgeous. However, you could hear people talking until 2, and then the people finally broke up at about 2:30, and they went away, and they're kicking trash cans and stuff like that, and you would hear all this. And then we finally fall off to sleep, and then you hear the trash trucks coming in.
Oh, at
And
5 or
at
6 or
4.
something.
4. They came in at
Uh,
4, and it was just,
what a
and we were
great
just,
night's rest.
and we rolled over at like 5:30 and said, you know what? What's the point?
All right, we're making a
It's like,
plan right now because I've never been to the Baltimore Aquarium. So let's do
okay,
that when we're back, when I'm back.
when
Because
you're
I've
back,
never
okay.
been.
Well,
I've
we could
never
take
been.
Byron.
Oh yeah, we could actually.
Yeah,
You know what's
that'd be good.
funny is I've
I
never done
drive.
the Baltimore Aquarium, but I have done Annapolis and I did the Marine base, the naval base there, which
Really?
I think is hilarious that I did that niche
Well,
kind of
just going
thing.
to the waterfront in Baltimore is great.
Well, they have a new, or not a new, but in 2018 they had a great art museum over there, like abstract art museum,
Hmm.
and
Oh,
it
that's where
was
I first saw
fantastic.
Monet.
And it was
Your,
in the that little. I mean, like I'm just making the symbol for harbor with my fingers right now.
I
But
think your
yeah,
mother,
on the other side, yeah, it was great.
your mother took me there at like my 50th birthday or something.
Oh yeah,
She rented a place up there. We stayed at some townhouses, really cool, and went to the Monet exhibit in Baltimore. And it's very, very different because the townhouses that they showed them in were very small. So when you walk in the door, you're literally 2 feet from the Monet. And if you know anything about Monet, you cannot understand what it is from a close
pointillism. Yeah,
distance. So when you walked around, and then when you got on the other side of the room, then you look back and you'd be like, "Oh my God!" And then you would see uh, what it was.
I don't even think he
You know,
was a
you would
pointillist though.
understand.
Was he? He was, right? Let me see.
No, he just had bad eyes, so he was painting things as though they were far away.
Well, especially the
Mm.
water lilies. The water lilies
Well,
were
that's what I'm
painted when he
talking about. This
lost
is
like
yeah,
92% of his vision.
yeah. He was doing painting when you're blind. Think about that. But
I think he
he
was
could see things, but he could see them only at a great distance, but he close up.
because of his
So he was
perception and
painting.
light.
Yeah. So when he paints stuff, you have to look at it from a distance to see it the
Yeah,
way
he
that
was
he
never. He
intended.
had a fragmented brushstroke, but he was never a pointillist. That's what I thought. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't think that he was.
Yeah. Wow.
Georges Seurat was a pointillist,
Sriracha. Isn't that stuff you put on your cheeseburger?
and
Sriracha?
Paul Signac. You know what I was thinking about the other day? How is it possible that I'm gonna sneeze here? Oop. How's it? How is it possible that sriracha, if you put it on Mexican food, it is like a good Mexican condiment, and then if you put it on like an Asian dish, it tastes like a good Asian condiment? I don't know how they figured that out.
Oh, that's
I don't know
why.
how they
Do you think
figured
they
that
both used?
out.
I think I think they use the same spice.
No, well, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same bottle. I'm just saying. Oh, you're saying the same spices as are in
Yeah.
Mexican food, as are in there, and as are, but that I don't know if
Exactly.
is that really how it works?
Exactly.
Because if you put it in ramen, it tastes
Could
good
be.
in ramen. If you put it in like on a taco, it
Anyway,
tastes like it. Yeah, blew my mind. I
anyway,
was trying to research the other
crappiest
day.
flight you ever took.
Uh, I don't know if I've ever had any necessarily bad ones. There
Okay,
was one
when were
that
you?
I came. What it was like when I flew to no, not Kentucky. When I flew back to LAX, we sat on the platform for an hour and a half, and my flight was only 2 hours. And I thought that
Okay,
that was ridiculous.
that's pretty bad.
Yep.
You want to hear a few?
Yeah, yeah. I'd love
I
to.
have a few. I have back in the olden days, I used to love to fly because you would say I would do business trips, and I did, and I traveled a lot around the country. I would go to Texas, Dallas, Austin, Houston, L.A., Chicago, Seattle, uh, uh, Tampa. Yeah, okay. Philly, I
Tampa
take
for
the train.
business.
New
Wow.
York, I would take the train. Chicago, what other Midwest cities today? Louisville. Any one of these I would go to, I would book a flight that was say I had a Wednesday noon meeting. I'd always try to make my meetings at noon, 1, 2, 3 in the afternoon so I could fly in the morning. So I'd fly up on a Wednesday morning. I'd book a flight Wednesday morning and I'd have me coming back on Sunday. And you'd be like, well, it's only for a 1 hour meeting. So 2 hours, and the CEO, you go and you glad hand big customers. You do this all over and you listen to what they have to say and you hear it directly, unfiltered through the people that you work with. And I think that that allows you to communicate it better to others in the company. Anyway, what I did is I would book that flight, and then when the meeting was over, I would hop and I go right to the airport, and I always had a carry bag. If it was a 1 day or 2 day trip, I would always carry a bag with me that was I would always overhead. Go to the airport, go in, check in, go through security, which was like boom, boom, done, and then I would look and I would say, okay, so when's the next flight that's getting back to DC? And I would DC or Dulles, didn't really matter, one or the other. And then I would switch my ticket to that, and there was no switch fee. And I would always get on an airline. I mean, rarely. I remember one time I had a Seattle flight, and this is the one of the bad times. I was rushing to the airport at like 2 o'clock, and the flight took off at 3, uh, and the next flight was at 11.
Mm.
And I got there at like 2:56, and I missed it. And I couldn't, and I tried, and she wouldn't switch it because she said, no, it's closed. The door's closed. You can't get on. Well, can't they open the door? No, I didn't do that. I'm not that kind of an asshole when it comes to flying. Anyway, I waited in the airport from 3 until 11, and then they delayed the flight an hour, and it was like 12. And I had my shoe shined. I talked to the shoe shine guy. I said, I'm gonna hang out here and talk with you if you don't mind until somebody else comes along and needs a shoe shine because maybe I can draw people in. And he's like, yeah, hang out. So I hung out, and that I did that. I had about 11 beers. That was like the first hour, and then I realized that that was a bad strategy. And so then, I mean, and went to every single shop in the airport and looked through every single thing that they had. And
7 hours. Yeah.
yeah, it was a long time. I
That's
mean,
a long
we
time.
had Jose and we were going to Kilimanjaro. We were going to climb Kilimanjaro. It was another time. But this was not a bad time. This is actually a funny experience. We go and we're taking Air Ethiopia, business class seats, Air Ethiopia. Okay. We looked at them and KLM. And KLM was 2,400 bucks for regular economy. Uh, for 26, we could get business class on Air Ethiopia, which some people might be freaky about flying on Air Ethiopia, but we weren't because we didn't care. So we go out there and they back away from the turn at like 12 o'clock, and we're on the thing waiting. And the reason we're waiting is because they cannot get space in Paris, which is where we're flying to. And we're flying to Paris from National. So we're waiting on the National tarmac, and they service drinks in business class. 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 And then they service food. They brought out
Oh.
the food. And then I'm like,
Oh
I
no.
get in a conversation, my travel agent, I call her and I go, hey, what's up? We might have to change things. She goes, what do you mean? Are you there? And I'm like, no, no, I'm here. She goes, what do you mean? And I go, well, we backed away and we've been sitting on the tarmac for 4 hours. And I mean, at this time, I am shit rocked. I'm I'm just in. I mean, I'm moving funny and I'm sitting down. That's how bad it was. And Jose was laughing too. We were having a great time. And I said, yeah, they're just bringing me dinner. And she goes, and you haven't left the airport yet? And I said, no. She goes, that's a very bad sign. They ultimately took off. We went to Paris. We got to Paris 4 hours late. We in Paris, they did not have a terminal that they could log into. So they stopped in a field. They reloaded the plane in the field. They had trucks drive over with stuff, and it was different. And then guys that wanted to smoke came to the front and stood out like on the little and smoked while they're refueling, which, hey, maybe that was a bad idea, but I don't know. It was Air
It's so
Ethiopia.
odd.
Then we flew, and since we couldn't, we were supposed to ultimately catch another Air Ethiopia flight, a short one, to Arusha, which is where the airport in Tanzania, which is where whatever the place is. Anyway, we missed it. We got stuck. We stayed in Addis Ababa, and it's the only night I've ever been to Ethiopia. And it's like, wow, we stayed in a hotel there. And that's another story.
Another
But
story for another time.
and I have
But I
many
think
other friends.
we're running out of time here. We're running
Yeah.
out of time here, and
Somebody
I think
talks too much.
that was a great way to end it. I think that was a
Yeah.
perfect
It was
story to end off on.
crazy.
Smoking next to the oil and or the refueling. And I think something that I just took away from that is, are you there? No, I'm not there. I'm here. And I think that's going to be my quote of the week.
I love it. Great. Best travel agent I ever had.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then yeah, so thank you guys for listening. As always, we have a Q&A section. Loving John's comments. Those are fantastic. Watch out for these every Friday at noon. And do you have any parting words in the last
Yes.
minute 48?
Joe, the check's in the mail, okay? And Mr. Grogan, how do you pronounce the last name?
Rogan, I believe.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay.
All right. Party on, everybody.
Bye.